G'day, guys, and welcome to the 15th episode of Comics to Movies and More. I am Sean Keenan, your host, and tonight we have a special host. Stephen's not in the house tonight, but we've got Lucas back from Angry Fred, which was successful on Kickstarter, so we're super excited to have him as co-host and helping me out tonight. And then I've got my good friend and co-creator Brad Van Geest on. We're going to talk 300, Talos of Sparta, and a bunch of other stuff tonight. So without further ado, let me bring on the guys. G'day, guys. How are we going tonight?
Hey, mate.
Good.
So how's everyone's weekend been so far?
Mine's been good. I went out and bought a four-wheel drive.
A four-wheel drive, okay.
Yeah, I'm doing up a 1975 vintage caravan at the moment in my spare time, which is very little, but yeah, I need something to pull it, so I just went out and bought a four-wheel drive today. So that was my weekend. So
nice. I just paid off my third last installment on my car, so I've got two more left, and then I own my car, so I am super happy and wrapped with that. And how's yours been, Brad? It's a little bit earlier where you are. You're over in WA.
Yeah, mate. It's 8 o'clock here. I'm in the office, and I spent the majority of the day today inking page 13.
Of what? What were you inking?
I don't know if there's a little comic coming out. It's called Talos of Sparta. I'm not sure if you've heard of it or not. But.
Yeah, I know. It's I've been plugging it the hell out of it over the last 6 to 8 weeks. But no, super excited. We've finally got some pages coloured and lettered. I've finally got around to doing some stuff with the Kickstarter. We will chuck up in the comments later this afternoon, this evening, in regards to the pre-launch page, so people will be able to sign up to that, and we will also be doing the color cover reveal. So we had shown the inks, but we've finally got the cover colored and ready to go. So, but before we get into our normal show, I'm going to hand it over to Lucas. Lucas has something special that we're going to do tonight. If you don't remember, Lucas was on a couple of weeks ago and spoke about his Kickstarter Angry Fred, which was based on his late father, who played one of the characters out of his homemade movie, or indie movie, sorry. So take it away, Lucas. What's going on tonight?
yeah, so after the success of my Angry Squad Kickstarter campaign, just to incentivize all the backers of that Kickstarter, I decided to incentivize them to get their surveys in by the 26th of August. And the ones that did so, I'm offering a little mini Angry Fred Lego figurine, and I'm going to raffle off those names right now and just see who wins this little guy. So
that's awesome.
I'll get that going.
I've always wanted to do like Lego figures of one of my characters. I reckon that'd be bloody awesome. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
okay,
yeah,
here we go.
Here we go. I'm going to spin this wheel.
Got a few bloody backers there.
Just a few. Who we got? Let's see. Oh, Colin Wells. There we go.
Colin Wells.
Woohoo!
Awesome.
All right.
That is awesome.
Yeah, Colin, I'll be in touch with you via Kickstarter messaging, and we'll get that out to you with your rewards. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, before we get into our movies, I'm just going to do a couple of g'days to people that are on the chat. We've got Shane, Moira, Adam, Sazigal, Moira, and Nate, who was actually, I was doing a panel earlier with with him as well. He was doing a virtual convention. They were raising funds for the Daintree Forest. So if you haven't checked out that, you can check it out on the Kapow page, and all of the panels out of the week were there. So, but today, to tie in with Talos of Sparta, the movie that we've decided to talk about is 300, and this was actually your choice as well, Brad. So is this something that you liked, or was it really just because we're going to talk about Talos of Sparta that you decided to pick this movie?
It's a little bit of both. It's one of my favorite movies, actually. So that's part of it. The other part of it was, obviously that it tied in with the sort of stuff that we were working on with the book. So kind of fit really well. I suggested it. I had a couple of suggestions, but 300 seemed to be fitting. So here we are.
So what did you like about it? What was had you read the graphic novel or the comics prior to watching 300, or?
No, so believe it or not, I'm actually someone who didn't grow up or really I wasn't really into comics when I was younger, and I'd never heard of 300 as a comic before the movie had come out. I never heard of Frank Miller or anything like that. So when the movie came out, I just really enjoyed the movie, and I had no idea that it was actually an adaptation from the graphic novel. I just loved. I mean, in a way, it takes me back to sort of movies from the 80s and stuff like that, where it's just all about. It doesn't hold back. It's gratuitous violence, and it's there's a little bit of tongue in cheek there, and it's also heavily stylized and all that sort of stuff. So. I mean, I really enjoyed the whole package. I suppose it's nothing. There's no specific thing that hangs out that stands out, but it's heavily stylized. I just really loved the characters. And nothing wrong with a little bit of throwback to a little bit of gratuitous violence from the movies that I loved when I was growing up. So.
I'm sure you've seen this, Lucas. You've seen 300, of course.
I have. I remember when I first watched it, and like Brad, I didn't know at the time that it was a Frank Miller comic book and so forth. And it visually, it struck me like straight away, just seeing all the slow motion that they used throughout it, and just things in my mind that sort of stick out just off the top of my head is just how. When some of the, I think it's the Persians, just correct me if I'm wrong, when some of them are falling off the cliff and it's just that stylized shot and they're all just like going down in slow motion and all, going to their death. I was like, whoa, what the hell? What the heck is this? In for a really wild and, gruesome ride. But it definitely sticks out to me on that front. And technological wise as well, I think for the time, I think around about the same time Sin City was being made as well. So it's that thing where comic books are sort of making their way literally onto the silver screen, I guess, so to speak. There's a direct correlation where you can, I think in the 300, correct me if I'm wrong, you can take scenes from the film and they'll pretty much match up with what's on the comic book pages, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I've never come across that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's if you've ever watched the behind the scenes of that, it's really uncanny, like how well they literally, especially the wolf scene where he's crouching down and the wolf is in the shadow and everything like that. That out of the graphic novel or comic is like so close to what it is in the film. It's unbelievable. But had either of you guys heard of the story of the 300 prior to this movie?
No.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna be the super big nerd and say that I actually had seen the 300 Spartans, which is a 1962 film. So both that and Spartacus were films that I'd watched growing up as a kid. probably shouldn't have been watching those movies, to be honest. But so I did know a little bit of the story behind 300. But again, even being into comics, I hadn't read the Frank Miller series or miniseries on this, so it wasn't until after I saw the movie that I went back and got the graphic novel. But I was a big fan of the stylized side of it, and I was very impressed with how they were able to, as you said, Lucas, take the comic and keep so true to what it looks like in the comic. And I don't think there's been too many movies that have been able to do that. Probably Kick-Ass, which is another Frank Miller one, is close to that. But there hasn't been too many movies where you can really see the comic and then see exactly how that translated onto the screen. So. Now, did either of you see the follow-up, 300 Rise of the Empire?
No, I didn't.
Are you going to bring this up?
Sullivan Stapleton is an Aussie actor up the front. Is that correct?
Yep.
Or, yeah.
And what's I can only remember him as the guy out of Heartbreak High. With the funny eyes in Captain America Winter Soldier as well. But I can only remember about that. And every time, is it Drazik?
Drazik, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
Drazik out of Heartbreak High.
Yes,
someone correct me if I'm right or wrong in the chat. So that every time I see him, I'm just like expect to see him in his braided hair and stuff like that. But I will throw Brad straight under the bus here. He said he absolutely hates that second film. I've rewatched both of those just recently. As I mentioned a couple of times, my parents have been staying with me here during the COVID stuff, and I made my dad watch both of these one night after another, and I really enjoy the second one. I think it's sets up the story a lot more than 300 and ending with the United Greece and everything like that. And again, the action and being able to see how they battled on sea and like how much strategic positioning could happen on sea. I really enjoyed that. So I'm going to say I'm one of those people that likes both of these movies. So. You're not even going to respond, Brad.
No. There's very little I like about the second movie, man, to be honest. I don't know. For me, the whole thing just didn't work. Like maybe I was unfairly looking at it and expecting it to be like the original movie, like the 300. And, it just wasn't. It just let me down in so many ways. I thought the script was poor. I thought the acting was terrible. I thought some of the CG was questionable. There's some really cool elements.
You like the Aussie Greek accent, mate?
I never watch Heartbreak High, but every time I see that guy, I'm just like, I don't find him believable when I watch him on the screen. It doesn't pull me in. Whereas every single character in the first movie, from
guys doing that's just harsh, man. If you say that because of his eye, that's just harsh. He doesn't pull you in. Why? Because he's not looking at you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no. I mean, even Lena, was it Lena Headey, whatever her name is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Even her performance, I thought was pretty
poor. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. To be honest, but look, each to their own. You know what I mean? Like, just because I didn't like it doesn't mean you couldn't. I didn't enjoy it at all. Maybe I should go back and watch it.
Had you seen that one, Lucas?
No, I hadn't. Sorry, no. I've read up about it and checked it out, and I've realised that Zack Snyder.
It's not worth your time.
Well, no. Well, to me, I look at Sullivan Stapleton, and I think I liked him in what was it, Animal Kingdom, and then Yeah, he's an interesting actor. I don't know if he attracts me enough to sort of go, oh well, he's a sort of a lead in something. But so this movie, this second movie was written by Zack Snyder, but it was directed by someone else, I'm assuming. So is that
correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
That's my understanding. I think he was still a producer on it, but he didn't direct the whole thing. So I did like how it was like interwoven into the first story. So the timeline was pretty much. He was pretty much doing what the 300 Spartans were. He was either gonna, they were gonna be the sacrificial lambs, hopefully to unite Greece, but it was the 300 died before them. So then it was like, okay, that's they're our martyrs. That's what we needed to have the rallying call for Greece to kind of follow. But I think the action in it is really good, but I still believe the first one is much better. They definitely had, like, Michael Fassbender is in the original. Like, it's interesting when you go back and watch some older films, how many people that in it. What was I watching the other day? Wrath of the Titans. And talk about not an overly great film, but not only did it have Nicholas Hoult in it, I didn't even realize.
Oh, really?
Nicholas Hoult.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got Nicholas Hoult. It's got Liam Neeson and Sam Worthington as normal,
yes.
but it also has the guy that's out of Game of Thrones. That's the pirate that he's in the later seasons. He looks after the girl when I don't want to spoil things for people that haven't watched Game of Thrones, but when the little girl dies, he was the one that was like, how could you kill your own daughter and everything? Like, I can't think of his name now.
The Onion Knight, but I can't remember his name either. But I know who you mean.
Yeah. So I was watching that and I was like, oh my god, how many actually pretty good actors in this, and God, it's so bad. How can it be so bad with type of thing? So I really enjoyed both the 300s. So I wouldn't mind having seen like a third one, but I doubt that would ever happen from here on out. So have you guys
give it another 20 years, and then there'll be another renaissance where they'll just start making prequels and sequels for no reason to try and make some more money. You never know.
It is funny because there was I was reading an article the other day talking about trilogies or sequels that were supposed to happen that would never happen, and that Tron Legacy that was supposed to set up a third film that they're like, is never going to happen. And then the next day I see an announcement that an Aussie director is going to be directing the third Tron film for Disney moving forward. And I was like, hang on a sec, I was just reading an article saying that this was never ever going to see the light of day, never happen, and now they're announcing that it's going to happen. So it is funny that given enough time, given enough money, you can never rule anything out. So
I always think that they should just be remaking films that were really bad and had good concepts, and they could throw more life into them. Yeah,
instead of remaking films that were really good and making them bad.
Yep. That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. I was like, even with like the violence and the style of violence in 300, I thought was great. And I felt like they didn't do effects just for the sake of doing effects. Where with Clash of the Titans and Wrath of the Titans, I felt the opposite. I was like, there were certain things that, because I'm a big fan again of the original Clash of the Titans movie, and I was just like, there were certain parts in that I was like, you didn't need to overly CGI that or type of thing. You could have done things a lot more practically without having to kind of go over the top. So, but there was a comment in on the chat which I loved was had anyone seen the spoof film Meet the Spartans?
Meet the Spartans, yes.
Yeah. So
I think I've
hilarious
it once, but
quite funny. So
yeah.
I don't remember.
I think Adam here said something about is it Pillow as I can't pronounce the name. The guy that you were talking about in the Game of Thrones?
No, I can't even think of the guy's name now. I'll have to IMBD it later, and I'll post after that. So,
cool.
Oh wow, Moira said that she never got past season 2 of Game of Thrones.
Moira.
Really,
Wow.
Moira, like. She's watched I met Moira when I did one of the Spartacus conventions in Paris, and she's watched every pop culture show that I can even think of. So I find that unbelievable that she didn't get past season 2. So although Darren has said that he didn't miss much, it ended bad. That's a gold one, Darren. So. It's so funny, going off topic here with Game of Thrones. It's really interesting how they spent so much money on the series. They took that 18-month break, and then that last season just felt so rushed. Out of all the other seasons, and the way they layered things, and that last episode, everything would kind of just come to a head. And that last season I just felt like that they just were like, okay, we know we're going to end the series. This is where we want it to end. Like, let's try and get there as quickly as possible, type of thing. Have you guys all watched all 7 seasons? Or
yeah.
Sorry, Lucas, go ahead, mate.
No, sorry, you can go.
All I was going to say is that I totally agree, and even I think to a certain extent, I know again we're off topic again because we're supposed to be talking about 300, but even after the first episode, the end of the first episode, I just thought that was really poorly done, and then the internet was still. Everyone was all like, "Oh my god, that was amazing!" The first episode was of the last seasons. It was epic and all that. I was reading all these things, and I was just thinking, I think people are just saying that because it's popular. I don't really think people just watched the same thing that I just watched because it was terrible. And in my opinion, it only got worse from that point on. It just, if they could just wipe that last series off the face of the earth. Or even go back and then do it like a director's cut or something like that and do it again. And just tell the story the way that it deserved to be told and finished. Piss poor effort, to be quite honest.
There is a lot of rumors that those guys had signed on to do a Star Wars trilogy. And there was rumors that they were trying to not rush, but kind of their mind was already on to what the next project was going to be. Again, I don't know how much truth is in that type of thing, but it would be quite interesting. Again, getting off topic, but if you saw the DC fandom and the Zack Snyder cut that's coming out for Justice League, and then for me the biggest example I always show about how differently a movie can be cut is Daredevil with Ben Affleck, because Daredevil with Ben Affleck, the Hollywood version, is fucking terrible. It is just so cheesy, corny, writing. But if you go back and watch Daredevil, the director's cut, which is how the actual director wanted it to be, I'll spoil it for everyone, but he doesn't even get with Electra in the film at all. So it's all about that unrequited love, which is what his whole character is about. It's much grittier. There's really good fight scenes and that have been totally cut out of the normal one because I think it's PG. I'm not sure whether it's PG or M, but it was like quite toned down, where the fighting in the next one is much darker, much grittier, and there's actually like a little bit more of him in court. So you actually see a little bit more of Matt Murdock in the court side of things as well. And for me, it made it a big difference to the film. It was like chalk and cheese type of thing. So it is interesting, when the corporates get involved and the money makers that are investing in the films get involved, what gets put out compared to what the vision of the director actually has can be very, very different.
I wonder if that's the second 300 movie then, Sean. What do you reckon?
Maybe.
I don't know, mate. Could be. So
that second movie was so completely different in feel and style. Even though they took elements of the first movie to try and stylize the second one, I just felt like that second one tried too hard to try and, I don't know, maybe be like the first one or something, but it just wasn't. It didn't have substance like the first one did. And what you just said about, some creative people having a vision and bringing that to life, I felt like with the original movie 300, I feel like everything just worked in that movie. Like regardless of what you might think of it, if you're into that type of thing or not, I think you could still watch that as a movie and be entertained if you can get past the amount of blood and all that sort of stuff that's in it. But it wasn't overdone. The CG wasn't unnecessarily used, and the slow, like you said before, Lucas, the slow motion stuff where Leonidas is just going crazy. You're going through a bunch of Persians, just carving them up in slow motion, smacking him with the shields, and it's great stuff. I just didn't feel like the second one had any real substance like the first one did.
Maybe because they were all potters and fishermen, mate.
Yeah, maybe.
Was the second one I'm assuming that wasn't based off any source material such as like the Frank Miller comic? Was it just something they? I think they just wrote up? No. Yeah.
No,
okay.
No. My understanding is what you said, Lucas. That Zach actually wrote that.
Yeah.
And himself, and I'm pretty sure he didn't direct it. I won't. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he wrote that and intertwined it. My understanding is the characters are actually based off historic characters. So those battles were actually taking place and everything during that same time. So it's historically accurate in that regard. But this was not based off like a spin-off of 300 or anything like that. So.
Okay. Yeah. It's definitely stylistic. The first one, I love that scene at sort of the start where Gerard Butler, kicks the Persian messenger down the well. Says this is Sparta, and it cuts to that wide shot, and he's just throwing his leg out, and they all start falling down into the hole, and it's like, whoa, okay, we're in for a bit of a wild ride here. But that's just stylistically unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, it had so many good one-liners in that film. Like, from "This is Sparta" to you need to be careful with your words, and like how many warriors did you bring? And it's like, oh, what are you? Sparta, what is your profession?
That's right.
So, like, that's where the Americans must get it from, So. But is there anything else you wanted to add about that? I'm just having a quick look in the chats. What?
Yeah. So the second film you guys are talking about was directed by Adam says it was directed by Noam Miro and screenplay by Snyder, John Statt, and Frank Miller. Which
so Frank Miller did have a part to it. Okay,
it looks like it. Yeah. Yep.
So, well, I'm guessing he would have some say in all that. I hadn't have there was the he has done a spin-off based on the Persian side, but I haven't read that series. So that was like the rise of the Persian king type of thing. So yeah. But what else have people said? Darren has said too many character arcs to tie up while trying to advance the story. Hurt the last season of Game of Thrones. Plus, I think most people expected Jon Snow to become the ruler. Yeah, but I think I felt like it fitted in with his character that he didn't. Like I felt that a lot of people was like, oh, that's not right, blah blah. But he never wanted it. He's continually said he didn't want it, and he did what he did, but still didn't want it. So, yeah. But Shane said he needs to look into the Daredevil director's cut. I sold him, so
Yeah, me too.
I hope you like it now. I've talked a lot of shit, so hopefully you like it now. So, there you go. Adam had put up the who had done that, so which is awesome. See, I love it when we have so many cool people in our chats. They do our work for us.
Research for us, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, but so the other thing that we wanted to talk about tonight was Brad and I, we've got a brand new series called Talos of Sparta. So we have been working on this for, I want to say, about a year now. Is it more than that?
Well, it depends on whether you count how long it took you to get me the scripture.
Well, I think that's got to be at least add another 6 months onto it. So I've admitted a lot of times on this live stream that I love world building. So I don't necessarily like to get into the writing part. I'll spend a lot of my time going, this part of the planet's going to be doing this, and this part of the planet's going to be doing that. And Brett's like, well, what's that got to do with the story? I'm like, nothing, but we need to know what's going on in the rest of the world just in case. So, I think 18 to 12 to 18 months is, I guess, how long we've been. I know we've talked about it. We said that we wanted to do something together for quite some time, but I think we've seriously had this in the works for about 18 months. So we're super excited to talk about this series. If anyone wants to know any questions, we'll try and answer any questions without giving away too much of the story. We're going to do the cover reveal a little bit later, as well as I mentioned at the start of the show, we'll drop the link into the pre-launch page. So what I thought I'll do is I'll just talk about how we kind of, or I came up with the idea, and then I'll let you take over, Brad, and talk about your process work with how you decided to design up the pages and that type of stuff. So,
cool.
So Talos of Sparta is based on a Spartan warrior that is given the after the death of his father, he's given the duty to face off this monstrous horde that is coming from or rising in the east of the country. In this setup of the series, it is what we call an alternate history series. So it's based on Sparta defeating Rome and becoming the powerhouse in what we know as Europe. So my idea behind this series was I wanted to kind of touch base with what it would be like if Western culture didn't kind of expand all over the globe, and what the world would look like if all of the native cultures were able to thrive. So it's a very exciting and action-packed series. We'll predominantly, be around Spartans, but they will travel, and there will be a lot of different other native cultures that come into the mix. So, we've got the Vikings. We won't tell you who the villains are, but they're the monstrous horde that comes from the east. We have taken a little bit of creative license with this as well, so it's not going to be 100% historically accurate. We've added creatures and other things into the series, so we don't want you guys to think that it's going to be 100% historically factual, but it is something I'm really excited and really, really passionate about, and I'm very excited to have co-created this with Brad, and some of the artwork that he's done on the series has been great. So what I might do is, Brad, is throw it over to you and let you have a little bit of talk about it, and I might throw up the Facebook page and show some of the artworks and designs that you've done so far for the book.
Yeah, mate. So thanks. So I mean, when you first rang me and said to me, I've got this idea for a book, and then you explained the background of it all and how it was to be sort of an alternate history sort of thing. As soon as you explained it, I was on board straight away. I was like, hell yeah, sign me up. That whole concept sounds like right up my alley. So let's do it. So I'm actually really pumped to have the opportunity to work on the book with you, and also just, none of you guys would know who I am, I suppose, but this is essentially, for want of a better way of putting it, my first book, and I'm kind of just learning on the fly how to draw a comic, really. When it comes to little things, you don't think about, as an artist who's never done a book like this before, you don't think about the little things that you've never drawn. It might be you've never drawn a knife or a sword or a fist in a certain angle, or a mountain or a tree or whatever it might be, or a hut or a house or a talisman or something. There's a bunch of stuff that you don't realize that goes into a book. That I suppose we don't even look at it in that way, because we're not supposed to. We take it for granted that these artists that create these books are just able to draw 1,000,001 different things. But for me, it's been a massive learning curve to sort of take a script that's so full of action and so full of things I've never drawn before, and put them into something that works, something that makes sense, and something that people will want to read, and something that people might want to take the time to look at the visuals rather than just flicking through it really quickly. I just want, I suppose my whole thing is with this is, because it's the first time, is to try and make it the best piece of artwork that I can possibly produce, given my abilities up at this point. But I just feel like the more I do as well, Sean, and I've said this to you probably a couple of times when, in phone conversations and whatnot, but the more I do it, the more I draw, the more I want to go back and adjust the stuff I've already done or change the things I've already done, because I feel like the challenge of doing these things that I've never done before or drawn before have just forced me to grow as an artist, which has been, for me, a brilliant experience, and I've loved every minute of it. Like, it's still taking way too long to get a page done, but it's but now I have an idea of, and when I'm constructing a page or a panel or whatever, in my mind, I'm sort of, I don't know whether this is something that other pencilers do, but I'm kind of looking at it like it's a movie in my head, and I'm running through it in my mind as if it was something that I was going to put on the screen, and how would I make that? How would I get that across? And sometimes it's a simple, shot that's, you could almost work in silhouette because everything's not boring, but it's just quite a simple shot. And then other times it's this perspective and weird angles, where it's a worm's eye view or bird's eye view or over the shoulder, that on a back of head. There's all this stuff that sort of, and as you progress and as you grow, you sort of try and think of more and more ways, more and more dynamic ways to capture the feeling and the essence of each panel. And it's been amazing. I've had a ball getting to this point.
This would be a similar experience to you, Lucas, wouldn't it? Because Angry Fred was your first delve into comic books and everything. So, how did you find the artistic process in regards to what Brad just said? Doing something that you haven't done before, and and not really had a training to type of do. How did you go about and did you enjoy that process, or is it like Brad? Because I know a lot of artists, but they say they've finished something, but they're like, oh, hang on, give me a couple more days. They'll go back and do something else. Oh no, give me a couple more days, and I'll go back and do something else. So are you similar to that?
Well, with Angry Fred, it was kind of similar. Obviously, I had a team of artists working, taking my script and creating, the panel artwork. But for me, when I was writing it, I think very visually. I'm a filmmaker by background, so like you said, Brad, I do actually visualize, when I'm writing my panels and the script, I actually do visualize that as a movie, because that's how I sort of, I guess, trained it, I guess, in a lot of the things I've watched. So I had to be very careful in that sense, because I could kind of, with my detail when I wrote my scripts, I was very, very detailed, sometimes to the point where it was a bit too detailed. And then sometimes I felt like maybe I was just like writing out a storyboard for a film. So I had to be very conscious of the fact of, like, on a page, having X amount of panels that would tell, that part of the story within a very, I guess, short space of time. And I'm obviously still learning this process, and, looking at what you guys do here is, helping that as well. But I would say so. Like, from a writing perspective, I definitely was like, oh, I sent this to, the artist guys. Hang on, can you just not draw anything right now? I want to rewrite this page, and I'll send it to you tomorrow, sort of thing. There was a lot of that going on. I think they got sick of me.
That's so funny, because I still remember the first time that I tried to do a comic script. The first artist I went to was like, man, like, you're asking me to draw something so specific.
Yes,
like,
yes.
no matter what I do, you're not going to be happy with it, because I'm never going to be able to draw 100% specific what you've done. So it is a real learning experience, even from the writing side, to be able to have trust enough with an artist to go, okay, kind of what I want. Here are the generic or simple outlays of what is happening, and then leave it to them to kind of do. So, and that's hard, especially if you're coming, as you said, from a film background, where if you're the director, you've got so much control over angle, lighting, like all that type of stuff. And then really with the comic, you're like, well, here's my script. I really want it this way, but whether I get it like that or not is another thing. So
it's interesting, because like I would go so descriptive. Say for a scene like the panel you've got up here, I would be like, oh, so there's like 20 people in the background, and they're wearing blue, red polka dots, grey hats, green hats, and I'm thinking, no, that'd be cool. We could put that into the panel, but like, no, the center of attraction here is the guy over here on the left sort of middle frame, that with the spear, that's, for me, it was like, oh, okay, I've got to tone it down. So totally understand. Totally get it.
I think I've been really lucky. I've kind of like when I do my writing now, it's more like in plot points and what sort of things that I want to hit, and then I kind of bring in actual writers to do the actual script side of things for me to make that process a little bit easier, because as I said, I love my world building, and I'll sit there for days and weeks designing different things and saying this is what I want, but to be able to produce a lot quicker. So Christoph Borgas is the writer that translated this into a script, and he did a fantastic job. I think he's done absolutely awesome with getting the real feel that that we were going for. And then it's nice here to Shane's had said that awesome art, great call by myself to include Brad in the project. So I've been really lucky and really fortunate to being able to travel around the different states to do different conventions, to meet so many great artists, and then even more fortunate to have them share their time and work with me. So, but
Can I just ask? Can I just ask quickly for Brad? Like, this is the first time you've drawn a comic book. You're an artist. What sort of like what do you do as an artist? Like before this, you were doing this.
Well, technically, I suppose I'm an illustrator and graphic designer, but
right.
Until I met Sean, I don't know, probably 5 years ago now at Supernova in Perth, I actually hadn't drawn for, like, in all seriousness, probably 15, nearly 20 years since I'd actually drawn. So
wow.
I was really lucky. To answer your question, long story short, I'm a graphic designer and illustrator. I'm self-employed, and my main source of revenue of income is graphic design. But if I could just draw pictures all day, that'd be my preference, obviously. But so for me, and before that, I bounced around and did a bunch of different things. I ran a gym for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. Before that, I was in. I studied in Melbourne, actually. So when I was in my early 20s, I moved from Perth to Melbourne and went to TAFE in Frankston for 2 years and did an illustration course there, because at the time there was nothing offered in WA that was anything like what was being offered over there. So I moved to Melbourne for 2 years and lived in Mentone and commuted to Frankston every day for 2 years to do my course. And but when I finished that, I came back to Perth and I just dropped it all and stopped. I stopped drawing completely for I'd say 15 years, and I had retail jobs, bounced around, did this and that. But it's only really in the last 5 years that I've actually picked up a pen again. And it's only really now in doing this comic that I'm actually getting to a point where I feel like I'm making competent art again. I always felt like I was capable, but there was no muscle memory there. There was no... My mind knew what it wanted to produce, but my hands weren't capable. But it's only really in the last 5 years that I've sort of gotten back to a point where I'm doing stuff now that I think is up to a particular standard that I'm really enjoying. So yeah, I'm a graphic designer and illustrator, and I do the comic book stuff. This that I'm doing with Sean is really something that I do when I have spare time.
Yeah.
So today I spent half the day on a Sunday in the office, and it's not unusual for me to do 2 days over the weekend. I'll do my normal stuff during the week, and then I'll do 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, in the office to try and get this done. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying is amazing. So yeah, please keep it up.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. And I don't know who COMICS is, but I appreciate the feedback as well. Thanks whoever that is. I think
Shane.
Shane. That's Shane. Yeah, he runs an Australian site that's got all of the different conventions, different creators, and everything like that. So he's came on our show a few weeks ago. So
cool.
which is fantastic. But what we might do now is we might do the cover reveal, and then I'll chuck the link in the comments so people can jump onto the Kickstarter pre-launch page and get notified when we go for launch. But please leave in the comments if you think this should be coloured and be a cover. I'm trying to get Brad to do this one as an incentive cover, because this has got to be one of my favourite images that he's produced throughout the time. If you guys like this type of image, and if I do all the half fan art prints, That's why I absolutely love this one. But yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. So okay, let me go into now. Here we go. Now, this is going to be a full wraparound cover. So this is our coloured version, Talos of Sparta. Let me make it full screen so you guys can have a really good look. So, so this is the coloured version. So again, it's Brad's art with Kevin DeCasto as the colorist, who has done an amazing job on this, and then Brad's also done the logo for the series on this one, which I love how you've coloured in the O and made it into that Spartan helmet type thing, which is really fantastic. So yeah, so this is it, guys. Talos of Sparta. We haven't set a launch date yet, but I will chuck the Kickstarter link into the chat now. And Brad, is there anything you want to say about the actual cover or anything?
Look, I'm actually blown away by the colours. When you first sent me this cover, I opened up I think you sent it to me in Messenger. It was a low res picture in Messenger. I opened it up and I was like, "Fuck me, that is amazing!" Like, it's not very often that I look at something that someone's coloured that I've drawn and gone, "Holy shit, that is nuts!" That like, it's better than I envisioned it ever looking. So, what was the colorist's name again, mate? Sorry.
Kevin Anthony DeCasto.
Yeah, so shout out to Kevin. He's absolutely killed the colors on it, and even to the point where, like, he's added in, he's paid really good attention to the light source that I've used and the bounce light off the quads and and off his delts and stuff like that, the top of his cape, you know, whatever you want to call that, and the shadows that he's added, you know, just coming off the arrows, and it's blown me away. Top job. Really happy with it.
Yeah, I felt like even with the way he did the clouds and the colouring, like, it's a really nice foreboding cover. Like, you know, as I said, and it's no giveaway that Talos's father passed away, and that's what sets him out on his quest. So, not spoiling it for anyone, but this cover I felt really spoke to that, because I think that's what we were trying to go for in regards to, you know, Sparta is burning, or you know, something is burning, and that foreboding of, you know, what's happened, and you know, warrior type thing. So it does sound like people are liking it. Can we get a copy, post a copy of that, which is cool. So yeah, an incentive poster. So
yeah, that'd be a great idea. I can see this as a poster for sure. It's unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, what I might do is, if we can get Brad on closer to before we launch, we might do a couple of giveaways. I'll print out a couple and do them as a giveaway on the show. I think that might be a cool idea to get people looking forward to it. So if you haven't seen in the comments, I've dropped the Kickstarter link. I will actually show you what the Kickstarter link looks like now as well. There's not a lot up there that you can see. It is just a pre-launch notification page at the moment. So I'll also drop the Facebook page in there if you want to keep up to date with behind the scenes work. Brad posts up a lot of his design works and pencils and prelim drawings and stuff like that. So if you want to have a look at that, you can as well. And I'll chuck that in the chat. But this is the pre-launch page. So we haven't showing this anywhere yet. So everyone that is on this live stream, you'll be the first people to see this. But we've got the Talos of Sparta. All you need to do is click this one, although I can't because I can't sign up to my own project, or else I would. But you just need to click this, and what that does is when we launch, you'll be notified first of our project going live. Now, the good thing about that is we try and do some early bird offers. So for everyone that has backed my previous projects, you'll notice that, you know, with the early bird offers, you'll get something either special or at a discounted price or something like that as well. So, which is amazing. But yeah, did anyone have anything else or any questions that they want to ask? Pop it in the chat now, and I'll let you guys say anything else you want to do before we start wrapping things up. We've got a couple of minutes to go, so if anyone out there wants to know anything about the story or want to ask some questions about Talos of Sparta, feel free to do now. Or if you guys have got any questions for Lucas and his projects that had just successfully funded, that would be cool as well. Or if you've got any questions for Brad, now is the time to ask. Guys, do you have anything else to add?
Can I just ask you both? Is this going to be like a series of books, or is it just going to be a standalone story, or what's the overall scope here?
Go ahead. Do you want me to? You go ahead.
Me go ahead. Right. So what we've decided to do is we're going to do the first issue as a single issue. So we'll have a couple of different covers, and it will be, is it 24 pages, the first issue?
25, mate.
25 pages is the first issue, full color.
That's 25 pages of art, not like, you know,
yes.
5 pages of art and 20 pages of ads or something silly. It's 25 pages of art. Sorry.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And what I might do is I might actually throw up a page that we've got completed as well in a sec. But so the first one will be a single issue, but after that we're going to go straight from the single issue into a trade. So with XCT, I found that trying to print so many single issues is quite difficult, but people do like that number one issue. So so this Kickstarter will do the single issue with a couple of incentive covers, and then the next time we bring something out, it'll actually be a full graphic novel in the series, and it will be an ongoing series. So we were talking about all of us looking at things in a movie type of aspect, so where we've decided to call these seasons, as if it's like a TV series or something like that. So
yeah, that's all. Oh, beautiful. That's awesome. Yeah, I like it. I like that plan of attack. Cool.
Yeah, it's just the individual the individual comics are just so harder to kind of move now, especially in the graphic novel world, and because we've got distribution set up through COMICS2MOVIES, it's much easier to do the graphic novels. But to make sure that people enjoy the series and like it, and that it's, you know, something that people will want to go out and buy, we've done like the first issue almost as if it's a pilot thing. Yeah. So
I know Darren Humphreys said number one is the pilot. So in the comments, so yeah.
There we go. See, Darren, we've got great minds think alike, mate. There we go. So, Nurse Algomator asks, will we see God of War Easter eggs?
Well, he actually asked if there's any 300 Easter eggs. I haven't planned to put any 300 Easter eggs in there, but now that you mention it, I might try and find a way of putting something in there. But I have used a couple of Frank Miller panels as inspiration for a couple of the panels on one of the pages, one of the panels on page 5, actually, which is the next page after this. But yeah, I've used Frank Miller's stuff as a we'll call it reference, but it's a little Easter egg, a little nod to Frank Miller in there on page 5. But yeah, maybe I'll look at doing a couple of little 300 Easter eggs. But God of War, I don't know. I've never played that game. I don't really know much about the series, so. But if there's some other Easter eggs that we could throw in there that might be related, I'm up for it.
I've never actually thought about doing Easter eggs. Like I've in the XCT series, like we've put like friends and family in background, or when very early on they were doing like a host show, and then they talked about the next guest, and I used my sister's name as the next guest. So I've thrown in little things like that, but that was more personal for my friends and family. But I've actually never thought about throwing in Easter eggs, and I don't mind the idea if it doesn't take away from the artwork and the story, but I wouldn't want to do it just for the sake of doing it. So, but I do know you were saying before, Brad, and I didn't touch on how you was talking about your art style and you wanted to keep going back and do different things, and you wanted to make sure that the pages were something that people stopped and looked at. And the reason why I picked this page to show, which is fully colored and lettered, was we had a couple of back and forths with the colorist on this one, and when we saw this version, like I said to you, I've gone, oh my God, I didn't realize how much was going on in the backgrounds. Like I said, I didn't see this and I didn't see that. And, you can see these little nuances and everything. And it made me like look at the page and be so much more engrossed in the page than just reading the text and flipping to the next page. And I think that's a real credit to not only yourself but Wilson Go, who's a colorist on this, has done a really good job as well.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I try I always feel like I don't do enough in each panel, but there's only so much you can do in a small format. But I try to do it and envision it in a certain way, and then sort of try and think about how maybe the colorist might be able to color it. And after the back and forths, exactly like what you said, just everything now and pops in the depth of field. So you've got the foreground, which is really powerful, but the things that are going on in the background, like the two guys, there's a guy being speared through the heart, and he's in the air. You can really sort of, you don't just skip past those details now. You really do sort of stop and go, oh, what's going on in the background there? Oh, that guy's in the air. He's got a spear and blood pouring out of his back. Like, it really does pull you. It gives you the depth, foreground, background, the contrast, and all that. It's brilliant. He's done a really good job.
Yeah.
I like the clouds in the background look, quite realistic. The sky and so forth as well. Just adds to the. It's not something that we had actually directed him to do, and both Brad and I said that's probably not something that we would actually probably go for either. But when we saw this page, it really fitted in with the overall look and feel that we were going for, and as Brad just said, it just made it really jump off the page and make it look much more 3D than just a flat
a flat page or a flat panel type of thing. So, I'm super excited to showcase some more of this artwork. Once we have the Kickstarter up, we'll have the first 5 pages that everyone will be able to look at. Prior to the launch, we'll start dropping some panels as well, and we're really keen to get people excited for this book.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I just read the those couple of comments there, one from Warren, one from Darren, and I really appreciate that, guys. Thanks very much. And Adam said great shadows, and I appreciate that as well. That's one of the hardest things. I think it's really easy to overthink shadowing and spotting in blacks and stuff like that. And it's something that I've actually struggled with a little bit. But I mean, realistically, you just sort of got to throw it in there, and if it doesn't work, the great thing about art, I was told a long time ago by a teacher when I was in Melbourne, actually, was if you don't like it, you just draw over it. So
I like that.
Just draw it again. Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
This is a good question. How much of Spartan culture will be delved into Talos of Sparta? Well, for me, I've really enjoyed doing the background research on this. So I've spoken to Brad about wanting this to, again, it is an alt history one, but also use a lot of factual things. So, they have a second class or slave class that are called the Helots. We've got 2 kings. So if people don't realize, in Spartan culture, they had 2 kings because they didn't believe that one person should have all the power, and it was all about Sparta, not about a individual king, which I found quite interesting because it doesn't mention that in 300 or anything like that. Leonidas was actually only one of the two kings type of thing. So yes, there will be a lot of historically accurate and correct stuff about their culture, but in regards to the actual characters and the story and where it goes, that'll be purely fictional. So yeah. And Moira said that she's already excited, so that's fantastic. So, well, it doesn't look like anyone has any more questions or anything. I just want to say thank you, Lucas, for jumping in and co-hosting tonight. I really appreciate the help, and Brad, I appreciate you making some time on your busy weekend to chat with us as well. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah.
And guys, just one more time, if you haven't subscribed or clicked the notify bell, please subscribe to our channel. We go live at 10 o'clock each Sunday night. And if you want to find out more of Talos of Sparta, go to our Facebook page, which is Talos of Sparta, or you can go to Kickstarter, and the link is all in the comments. So thank you once again, everyone. Have an amazing night. Thank you, everyone that came on and watched the show, and we will see you all next week.